The ocean was quiet on the surface, but deep below, something stirred. Local researchers had been monitoring unusual seismic activity off the coast when their instruments detected something abnormal. Large-scale disturbances far too intense to be caused by natural currents or marine life. Coast Guard buoys picked up tremors, and sonar systems revealed a massive object resting on the seabed. Curious and concerned, the team at the local marine research facility dispatched their best vessel, equipped with advanced robotics and deep-sea retrieval equipment, to investigate. At the head of the operation was Captain Izzy Barkley, an experienced diver and the mission's lead scientist. She was the first to dive, scanning the murky depths until she found the object, a large, sealed metallic container. Its sharp edges encrusted with sea life, but remarkably intact. After resurfacing, Izzy wasted no time. She ordered her crew to deploy the ship's robotic arm and crane system to retrieve the container. Though it appeared to be a standard shipping unit, the sonar readings and its strange positioning made it anything but ordinary. As the drone descended and attached its mechanical claws to the container's edges, the crew began the difficult task of pulling it up. To their surprise, the container was incredibly heavy, far more so than they had anticipated. The ship rocked violently with the strain, taking on some water as the cranes strained against the weight. It wasn't until the container finally thudded onto the deck with a loud metallic bang that the crew could breathe a collective sigh of relief. But the tension remained thick in the air because no one could understand what made it so heavy, nor why it had been sealed so tightly and sunk so deep. Izzy immediately noticed something unusual. Most shipping containers are not watertight, especially after years on the ocean floor. Yet no water leaked from this one. Its construction was sealed, insulated even, as though designed specifically to keep out moisture. This wasn't a container that had accidentally fallen from a ship. It had been placed there deliberately. As the crew gathered around, Izzy ordered caution. They didn't know what was inside, and she wasn't about to take chances. With a large bolt cutter, they removed the main lock, and slowly, with everyone holding their breath, they swung the heavy doors open. What lay inside left everyone stunned. The container wasn't filled with cargo, machinery, or weapons. It was, impossibly, a fully furnished living space. A bed, a table with chairs, a couch, a small closet, everything one would expect to find in a modest home. The crew stood in silence as they processed the surreal scene. Izzy stepped inside, slowly running her fingers over the items. The furniture had been bolted to the floor to prevent movement, and despite being submerged for who knows how long, everything remained eerily intact. Fabric-draped chairs, wooden shelves, and framed photos littered the space, some of them knocked loose and lying on the ground. It looked like someone had lived there, someone who had once had a family. Confusion quickly turned to investigation. The crew combed every inch of the container, looking for clues about the identity of its occupant and what had led to its oceanic entombment. Among the debris, one crew member found a sealed plastic bag tucked inside a small drawer. Inside was a voice recorder, dry and seemingly undamaged. Izzy took it carefully, her hands shaking slightly as she pressed play. Static filled the air, followed by the crackle of a voice, male, anxious, and clearly in distress. The man in the recording identified himself as Ahmed Osman. "I need to record this before they notice we're gone," he said, his voice cracking with desperation. "If anyone finds this, lives are at stake. Please help us." The recording left the crew stunned. Ahmed spoke of a ship, the Ever Cargo Voyager, where he and others had been held against their will. He begged for help, warning that time was running out. Then the device fell silent. Izzy stared at her team, their faces all bearing the same expression: disbelief, horror, and a growing determination to find out the truth. She recalled hearing about the Ever-Cargo Voyager before, a mysterious vessel that docked only briefly at ports, exchanging little cargo and never staying long. It made no sense for a shipping vessel full of containers to engage in such limited transactions. Reviewing recent maritime logs, she found its last recorded location, and it wasn't far. Without hesitation, the team set sail. Upon reaching the ship, they saw it anchored just 20 kilometers from the coast, still and silent. Izzy contacted the Coast Guard and local authorities, explaining the situation and urging them to act quickly. The authorities agreed, but cautioned that if the crew of the Voyager suspected law enforcement, they might escape or destroy evidence. To avoid detection, officers disguised themselves as researchers, boarding the ship under the guise of conducting a marine study. Izzy accompanied 2 undercover officers on a small dinghy to the side of the vessel. After a tense wait, a ladder was lowered, and they were granted 1 hour on board. The ship's captain was guarded, allowing them access but watching their every move. The trio moved cautiously, pretending to take water samples and observe fish migration patterns. Everything appeared normal on the surface. It was clear the crew had hidden any evidence of wrongdoing. But Izzy had one last idea. She began softly calling out the name, Ahmed Osman. She repeated it as they walked past rows of containers. Suddenly, a door creaked open. A hand pulled them inside. To their shock, the container was filled with people. Men, women, even children. And among them was the man from the photo and recording, Ahmed. Ahmed's relief was palpable. Once he realized they were there to help, he explained everything. He and the others had been promised safe passage to a better life. Instead, they were imprisoned and forced into labor aboard the ship. Some had been there for years. His container had been dumped in punishment after he tried to rebel, but he had managed to hide a recorder before it was cast into the sea. Now, thanks to that desperate message, they might finally be freed. The officers acted swiftly. Ahmed provided key information about the crew and their movements. A raid was organized. Additional forces arrived, and the Coast Guard launched a coordinated assault. The crew was taken by surprise. Within hours, the Voyager was under control, and the people held inside were finally freed. Izzy personally helped Ahmed and others onto rescue boats. The ship was towed to port, where emergency shelters were established for the survivors. News spread quickly, and the story exploded across the country. Media outlets hailed the operation as a major breakthrough in the fight against human trafficking. As for Izzy, she returned home exhausted but proud. Her instincts and determination had led to the rescue of dozens of lives. She watched the news coverage quietly, knowing that while much remained to be done, this was a battle they had won. And deep inside, she hoped the ocean would never again reveal such dark secrets, but if it did, she'd be ready.